This is Bill Brady, One United Body, doing another recording for the School of the Prophets. This particular recording is about prophets who are a servant versus prophets who are a son. This is the lower blueprint of prophet and higher blueprint of prophet. Ephesians chapter 4, where it speaks about apostles, prophets, teachers, shepherds, and evangelists or sowers, is an example, is a scripture that speaks about prophets as servants. Abram, while he wasn't a son in the sense of John chapter 5, he was on a progression to grow up to be one who was made like the Son of God. And we know today that son is just below Son of God. So Abram is an example of a prophet who was going to function at the level of Son of God at some point, not as a prophet, but as a Son of God, as a progression. So he's an example of a prophet as a son. What's the difference? Well, it's a matter of relationship. A servant is an honored position. I mean, angels are servants, right? A prophet as a servant has a relationship with Yeshua as a servant. And a prophet as a son has a relationship with the Godhead as a son. Servants are sent to do specific jobs, but they do not have the same level of training or relationship as a son does. Being a prophet who is a servant is a great honor and a very needed function. Being a prophet who is a son is a greater honor and a much more needed function. It's a higher blueprint. Now, there are both prophets and apostles who are servants. Paul speaks of himself continually at the beginning of the letters that he wrote as a servant. Yeshua, as the blueprint, highest blueprint of apostle, was a son. He is a son, but I mean, he was functioning as a son when he was functioning as a apostle. Now, both prophets and apostles are sent. If you're sent to function in the kingdom age, you are sent as a servant. If you are sent to function in the age of Melchizedek and above, you are sent as a son. And that sending as a son, I've said this before, but I'll say it again. The Father has a quiver of arrows, and in the quiver of arrows are his sons. Each arrow is a son. When the time comes to send a son, he takes the arrow out of the quiver, puts it in the bow, and shoots the arrow, and the shooting of the arrow is a sending of a son, and you know that that arrow always hits the bullseye. So he sends his son exactly where he wants to send his son. Yeshua, as the son, was sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That is both a geographic location and a spiritual identity of a people that he was sent to that live in that geographic location. He wasn't sent to those in the dispersion. He was sent to the geographic nation of Israel with the lost sheep of Israel living in that geographic region. Excuse me. His sending, I expect, was both as a prophet and a son. He was both as a prophet and apostle. He was both. So, some are called to function as prophets in the kingdom age. They're called to be servants, a prophet's servant functioning in the kingdom age. Some are called to be prophets functioning in the age of Melchizedek and above, and they are called to be prophet sons. I see that some who are functioning in the kingdom age as servants, as prophets, will transition to be, let me back up. Yeah, I said that right. They're functioning as servants in the kingdom age. They will transition to be a prophet functioning as a son in the kingdom, in the age of Melchizedek and above. Some will not. Some never see the age of Melchizedek for whatever reason. They're just not able to see it. Some who see it do not enter it. And the transition to functioning as a prophet, as a son, happens because you have grown up in the age of Melchizedek to the point that you are a son, and a son is the capstone of the age of Melchizedek. It's the fifth of the 5 stones. So it's towards the end of your journey in the age of Melchizedek that you begin functioning as a son. And at that point, your function as a prophet transitions from functioning as kingdom age prophet who was a servant to a age of Melchizedek prophet who is a son. Some of you may have had a calling as a prophet for quite a length of time, and you never really did a whole lot of functioning. I mean, you never had a place in the kingdom age or ecclesia age, ecclesia. You just never fit in. That was my situation. My calling was way back in 1989. And I did train under kingdom age prophets, but I never had a place in the kingdom age or ecclesia age, ecclesia, to function as a prophet. My function as a prophet is emerging even now. So my calling as a prophet was to be an age of Melchizedek prophet, to be a prophet's son. I'm seeing that now. That doesn't mean I haven't been prophesying. I have. But not a whole lot. And besides which, prophesying is not the only function of a prophet. There's much more to it than just prophesying. It's a major part of it, but it's not all that there is. Okay, so you can see that there is a difference between being called as a prophet's son and being called as a prophet's servant. All of the prophets in the Old Testament are a good pattern for you as a prophet's son. Not completely the highest blueprint, but a major part of the way there. The prophets functioning in the New Testament are a good example for you as a kingdom age servant prophet. And if you look at the scripture in the New Testament, there isn't that many examples of kingdom age prophets. In our day, there are all kinds of kingdom age prophets doing all kinds of prophet functions. And there are some trainers of prophets, but all of this is happening at the kingdom age as a servant. Some of them may be functioning as sons, but they may not have a whole lot of revelation about it. I mean, they've actually transitioned to be a son, and then their prophet function went with them as they transitioned to be a son. But they may not have a whole lot of revelation about that. They're just doing it, but they don't really know, have the knowledge of what they're doing and why they're doing it. They just do it. So they're not in a position to train somebody else to function as a prophet's son. I'm coming into that place myself, where I am in a place, will be in a place, or am in a place. The time is coming and now has come that I can begin to train in this area. And my calling has become much more clear to me as to what I am called to now that I have seen these things. And you may have the same experience as you listen to these recordings, where if you are one who is called to be a prophet's son, you'll find that your calling will become much more clearer as I speak about these things. Okay, that's enough for now on this topic.